You gonna play Squadrons tonight?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Gotta at least get a couple games in for sure.
What up, guys? Welcome back to another Nerd Theory podcast. I almost said Rule 2. We're back with Josh and myself from the Den of Nerds. Today we got some interesting stuff to talk about, some rumors, some alleged leaks, and some confirmations. So, Josh, apparently we're getting a Bane project you proposed?
Yes, that is the word. The word on the street is that Disney's developing multiple Darth Bane projects. This is coming from Daniel Richtman. I always tell people in my audience, Daniel's one of the good ones as far as insiders go. He's usually pretty solid with his stuff. He revealed this on his Patreon, and other people sort of picked up on it and have been talking about it. But it says here, according to Rickman's Patreon, Disney hopes to use Darth Bane in several projects. He also mentioned that this could include a solo project. This time period has been mainly unexplored in the Star Wars canon, so this would be open up an exciting avenue for storytelling. So the reason, well, there's a couple of interesting sort of tendrils that we can get into from this, right? But one of them is, I think a lot of Star Wars fans really want Old Republic. I think we've wanted Old Republic in live action for a while. And most people go to Revan right away. They're like,
Right.
I want to see Revan. My thing is, I actually don't really want them to retell Revan's story. I think it would be better to just kind of not go there. And I instead think focusing on Darth Bane or talking about Darth Bane would be the way to do it, because there's a part in the lore where Bane is sort of called to a Sith holocron, and it ends up being Revan's holocron, and he learns from this holocron, which sort of sets him on his path to then develop the rule of two, right? So yeah, man, multiple Darth Bane projects.
Do you think it's going to be a Disney Plus or a movie?
I mean,
Or like a
there's
trilogy?
no- yeah. So okay. So there's
Why,
no telling.
everyone keeps saying there's an echo. Is the echo gone? What, echo when Josh talks? Is it you? You.
Okay. How about now?
Oh, was it you the whole time? Was it something on your mixer?
What's up? Are we good?
I didn't hear an echo.
I don't hear anything. Could be trolls, or is it real?
I don't know. Echo's gone. All right.
All right, cool.
Perhaps it was you.
It might have been. So yeah. So the thing that's crazy about that, or I guess with the Disney Plus question, what would you want? Would you prefer it to be on a Disney Plus thing, or do you think this is a good enough kind of thing to maybe go movie with?
I think it's definitely, you can go either way. I think what's going to make them more money is probably Disney Plus. And it's just more convenient. So yeah, I'm going to go with Disney Plus. I do miss having, a blockbuster movie, in theaters, a Star Wars movie to go to, line up and this and that. But, with COVID and everything going on now, I don't really see that happening. So, yeah, down with Disney Plus. I think it gives them a lot more room to explore characters. The thing with shows, in my opinion, is that it can go one of two ways. You can either just really focus on minutia details of things that don't really matter, or you can actually develop a character much more detailed than a movie because you have more time. So
Right. Yeah.
it can go two ways. I'm down with a show. I think a show would be fun.
Yeah, I go back and forth on it. I think a show would be cool, but I almost wish, like, Bane is such a cool character that I almost wish they would center the next series of movies around the Bane character. Like, if they figured out a way to create either a trilogy or a series surrounding the galaxy at that time, and sort of Disney did their version of that time, I think that is a pretty compelling place to put some big movies like that.
When you
So,
say their version of that time, what do you mean? Do you mean like
Well-
they rewrite Legends, or are we just gonna?
yeah, I doubt, and it's funny. So I've been talking to some people about this. Shout out to Lord Callus. He's a really good lore channel. And I did like a stream with him and sort of talked about this as well. I don't think Disney is gonna just straight adapt a Legends character. I mean, they technically didn't even do that with Thrawn. So I highly doubt they're just gonna copy characters from Legends. What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the more I think about it, it's over the years, especially, I just don't think that they would take Legends characters and just copy paste, because it just would ruin the timeline that they've created. If they had continued the timeline from Legends, yeah, it makes sense, but now it just wouldn't make sense. So we kind of have these alternate universes of Star Wars. Some people see the old ones as canon still because it was under George Lucas. Some people see those as extended universe, and now they see this canon.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want. It's up for interpretation, I feel like. So, yeah, go for it. Just make it make sense. That's all.
Yeah, I think they would change Bane, but I think they could still hold true to a lot of the things that make that character so great. I do think there's stuff there that they would carry over. And I mean, like, if you think about Thrawn, like, Thrawn is still Sherlock Holmes. Like, he's still Sherlock Holmes in Star Wars. He's still 3 steps ahead. He's still ruthless. They just gave him some sort of backstory, and they kind of softened him up a little bit. You know what I mean? His motives are a little more ambiguous. He really wants to protect his people. You know, there's these new kind of threads that are put in there, and I think they could do that with Bane and still have a really satisfying Sith Lord. I mean, Bane is a really interesting character, and his apprentice Xana is a really interesting character as well. So it would be kind of cool. And the thing that I think is dope is Bane in the Rule of Two carries all the way through to Palpatine. I mean, like, Palpatine, a lot of the things that he did come from Bane, and then Plagueis. You know what I mean? So I think it'd be cool, man.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I just hope that, maybe. I understand that there's a new group with the story group ever since Disney bought it, right? And some people are still the OGs from back when George was there, and some people are new that are brought in. So it's like we're getting this very diverse amount of storytelling from different sides of Star Wars, right? People that were brought in by Disney. So yeah, I'm excited. Look, I don't care who makes it, as long as it's got the right people behind it and it's a great show. That's all I care about, and it tells the story, respectively to the characters.
Yeah. Now,
especially with Darth Bane, because he's the dude that's set up so much.
Yeah. It's very important to nail that character, I think. But yeah, it would be cool to have that kind of a through line and to sort of go back and see that, because I think Bane. So here's what's interesting. So I think Bane is such a cool character, but I doubt Disney would make a protagonist that was technically a Sith and a very ruthless, like, kind of almost conquering Sith. I mean, he read weddings, all the Sith with the thought bomb, and so I don't know. I have my doubts about Disney taking that character and making him the protagonist of a series of movies.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about them making any bad guy protagonist, because they've just, over the years we've seen with all the EA games, it's like they just turn into good.
Yeah.
After like a few minutes, it's like, oh no, is Bane going to turn into a good guy?
Right, exactly.
What the heck's going to happen with that? But yeah, man, I mean, I would love to see a story following the other side, which is not the light side. I think it's really interesting. I think, dude, I just noticed your hat.
Oh, the little Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny you say that, because that's one of the biggest letdowns for the sequel trilogy for me, was when Snoke says, I'm going to finish his training, and then I thought about what Sith training would look like, or what dark side training would look like with Kylo, and I was just like, I was ready for it, dude. I wanted to, like, open up on, like, a version of Yoda and Luke in Empire, but from the dark side perspective. We've never seen that. Like, I mean, we've seen it in video games, we've seen it in books and stuff, but, like, we've never seen it in the movie. So yeah, it would be incredible. But again, I just doubt Disney would do it, right?
It's weird, man. They extrapolated on in the comics with the whole, and what's so strange to me is, like, Snoke threw Kylo off a cliff. Did you see that one?
Yes.
He threw him off a cliff, and Kylo was just floating above the spikes, above the rocks of the ground. Dude, there's like 50 ambulances going by my place.
I was about to ask, like, are they coming to get you, or
I hope
what?
they're okay. Yeah, maybe.
Like, what is going on over there?
Yeah, well. Yeah, well.
That's what it is.
Gotta go.
Yeah, right. See ya. So sorry. Wait. What were you just saying before the ambulance thing?
Well, it's just like they put all that stuff in the comics, but it's like, that would have been something that would have been really sweet to see in the movies, right? It's like Snoke training Kylo would have been very interesting.
Totally. totally. I wasn't crazy about that look they gave Snoke, man. They kind of gave him like a almost like a Papa Smurf or like a Fern Gully kind of thing going on, where he's like got like he looked almost like this shaman, like
Of the Wills.
maybe,
Yeah.
but I'm like it looked a little weird to me. I was like, that doesn't match up with the Snoke I know from the movies. But I guess we never really knew that guy anyway, right? So
Yeah, and what was weird was Snoke from Episode 7 looked much more weathered and beaten up than the Snoke in Episode 8.
mm,
So I was thinking,
yeah,
okay, well, is he regenerating or something like that, or like, what's the deal?
yeah.
Well, I
There's
guess
just
now it doesn't matter. I guess now it just means nothing. But
yeah, they didn't know. Yeah, that was the thing. But yeah, if we want to turn into some positive stuff, we can talk about some of this Mando
let's do it.
rumor
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the Disney Plus Denmark confirming Rosario Dawson and Timothy Olyphant for the Mando season 2.
Okay, super cool story. Almost like I think in some people's opinions, maybe a non-story, and I find that really interesting because we've been talking about this rumor with Ahsoka and Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka for almost like a year now. But there's those people out there that are like, until it comes from Disney, it is not confirmed. You know what I mean? And look,
Yeah.
I get that, and I get being skeptical.
Absolutely, yeah. But
Yeah.
we're fans. We can still talk about stuff. So it's
Yeah, yeah, for sure. This was a nice little confirmation. What happened was there was a trailer put out I believe it was in Holland or something, right? And essentially in the trailer, and it's not an image, it's just text, but the text confirms that Rosario Dawson and Timothy Olyphant will be in the Mandalorian season 2. And again, it just sort of it's one of those things that I think just solidifies and should quiet a lot of doubt out there for people that Rosario Dawson is going to be live action Ahsoka. Live action Ahsoka is coming. And yeah, it's going to be a big deal. So
yeah, and we have the writers that are also announced for it. So I'm gonna pull that up here.
yeah, this one was really
Particularly,
cool too.
you were talking about before we started the stream, Dave Filoni on episode 5.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's get into it.
Yeah, so the whole idea, of course, is, with the Rosario being Ahsoka thing, and with Ahsoka coming into live action. And by the way, total side note here, I always come back to that interview that he did. I want to say it was in January of this year, where somebody asked him, could we ever see some of the Star Wars Rebels characters come in live action? You ever seen that? Where he like giggles like a little boy, and he's like, never say never, like just basically like holding back as much as he can. But yeah, episode 5, written by Dave. And the thing that most people are speculating is that this will obviously be the episode with Ahsoka,
Yeah.
because that's Dave's baby. But beyond even that, I personally think that this episode will be sort of calling card or a preview for the live action Filoniverse that we have been talking about, because it's not just Ahsoka that's going to be in this episode. It's going to be a lot of familiar faces. So that speculation for sure, but that's kind of where a lot of people's heads are at with it.
Yeah, that Filoniverse would be pretty fun. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah, man.
Yeah, pretty much anything he makes, I'm down for. I just feel like he has the right resume.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be something to get fans pretty excited again. So it's gonna be pretty cool to see that episode.
Do Use Waldo come to Disney Plus? What?
Hmm?
I don't know, it was a super chat. Hey, my guy, what's your favorite cheese? Episode 13 of Mando. We gonna see Ezra Thrawn, you think? Stay fresh, no echo, series for more depth. Thanks, man. What up, Wesley? Right, so my favorite cheese gotta be probably brie or something like that. Episode 13 of Mando. Maybe we'll see Ezra. I mean,
that's what people are saying, yeah. And our boy Rahul seems to be ready to go for it. So.
He was on Twitch or something, and he was saying something about the stream.
I think so. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that he was on. I couldn't find it, but somebody said that he was on Twitch talking about us, talking about him as Ezra.
Cool.
Yeah, but I couldn't find it for sure. But I think he knows. I mean, the thing is, he's a part of the Star Wars fandom, so he knows what's what. You know what I mean? So he knows that we know.
My guy doesn't follow me back.
He doesn't?
No.
Man,
No Star Wars officials do. None of them.
Do you think you're on some kind of list where they're like, "No, I can't do it"?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Oh, well
100%.
then, that's probably.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, yeah.
James Arnold Taylor is, I think, like the only guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool, man. He's a
yeah,
cool dude. Yeah.
yeah. He's very
No, that
nice.
yeah, that's sweet. So, what do you make of what do you think? You think 5 is the Filoniverse episode? What are your thoughts on this Mando episode 5? Cuz it's like for me, like when's episode 5, man? I got to know. Like I just that's the whole kit and
Well, what
caboodle
is
for
it
me.
when it comes out on the 30th of October? We get 2 episodes. Is that what it is? We get 2 right off the bat. Is that
Is
that's what I
that really
heard?
what's going on?
That's what I heard. But then again, you never know with these rumors.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. I mean I that could be the case and I just don't I'm not aware of it, but damn, that would be really cool to
It'd
be
be cool,
honest.
yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with COVID, I could see them wanting to really like up the watch time or something, or up the incentive of being on Disney Plus, because then of course, just like YouTube, we go watch one video, you're gonna watch a few others, and before you know it, you're paying for a yearly membership.
Yeah, no, I mean that would be awesome. More Mando, the better. Absolutely. But yeah, man, I think at the end of the day, like Mando, it's just such a good time because we're really hungry for content in general, just
Yeah,
because COVID. And the show had a fire first season, but I don't know about if you feel this way, but for me, like even though I liked season 1, it didn't like blow my mind like I think it did for some people. But what I'm hearing and what I think is going to happen next is going to be rather incredible.
I hope so. I hope it's gonna be incredible. I can't see it really not. So, especially with how it was left off in the first season, I think it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Like the main thing for me is them basically now. It's like the first season was kind of like the entry into season 2. I feel like it was like season 0, and now season 2 is like season 1 where it really begins, because now he's gonna go on this journey, and the whole thing is revolving around him finding the Jedi, or finding where he can take Baby Yoda, and it's gonna lead us to a lot of interesting things that we may not know the answer to, or ever have seen, or ever known.
Yeah, man. I got a couple crazy theories. You want to hear a couple theories?
Yeah, absolutely.
So remember episode 5 last season when Fennec Shand at the end, you see like the boots and the cape and all
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, and she's
So a
dead.
lot of people, right? Well, I don't know if she is, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah. Okay.
But some people think that, well, we all kind of thought that was Boba because like the cape and the spurs and the sound effect really sounded like Boba.
Yeah, I think it is Boba. I was like definitely shipping for that.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking it's actually going to be Cobb Vanth. Okay. So Cobb Vanth, you
Mm.
know about this guy?
The dude who took Boba's armor.
Yes. So Cobb Vanth, I believe, is going to end up being because he's who Timothy Olyphant is playing, right?
Right.
So Cobb Vanth, I think, found Fennec Shand at the end of that episode. I also think that Fennec Shand is actually working with whatever that place is called on Tatooine, Freetown or whatever that Cobb Vanth sort of runs. Because the whole idea is that like, so Fennec Shand, the man or not Mando, but the Talocan kid is taking a job to take out Fennec Shand.
Hmm.
Okay, but Shand is a notorious bounty hunter that was most known for taking out like big high profile people like the Huts or cartel runners or small warlords, whatever, right? So she had that kind of a reputation. But if the guild is coming after her, then she must have turned on that, right? And so if Cobb Vanth is running some, because his whole thing was trying to create a space on Tatooine that was free from the crime syndicates and that kind of stuff, right? So what if he's running Freetown? Shand is a part of Freetown. At the end of episode 5 in season 1, we thought Boba was there to either take the bounty or finish her off or whatever, but it's actually Cobb Vanth that is rescuing her and bringing her to Freetown. Now, I was thinking in my head, like, how's Boba going to fit into this, right? Like, how's Boba going to fit into
He's
this?
coming back for his armor. He's like, "Hey, you bastard, give me my armor."
Right,
So the whole
right,
time we're
right,
gonna
right.
think it's Boba in the suit, but it's not.
Yeah, right. But like, what? Okay, so here, okay, here's an interesting question then. Where does Din Djarin fit into that? Why is Din Djarin there, and why does Din Djarin have Boba's armor in the trailer? If he does,
I think he's hired by Boba, or he's working with him.
he could be. Yeah, he
Yeah,
could be. I
a
think
team
it's
up,
possible.
which would be
Well,
so cool.
oh, it would be disgusting. I think he might be trying to find Boba not because of any personal connection he has to Boba, but because Boba has a connection to maybe Luke Skywalker.
Hold on. What if IG-11 was sent by Boba?
Could be. But okay, so here's another interesting question. Where's Boba been? Because the only thing we've got in the new canon is
Laying
his
low.
armor. Yeah, but why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand, especially if Cobb Vanth is running around Tatooine in his armor, and presumably Boba is alive on Tatooine. Why has Boba let that slide this whole time?
He's laying low. He knows that the rebels want him dead, and he knows that everyone knows that he has some massive. I mean, he's super famous. He's the most dangerous bounty hunter in the galaxy.
So what if he is laying low, and he's using the Mandalorian the way, and him and Cobb Vanth are both doing the same thing that Din Djarin was doing with the other Mandalorians, where it's like only one of them goes above ground at a time, right? So what if Cobb Vanth and Boba are actually working together, and they're taking turns going out as, Boba or Vanth or whoever, and they both end up being Mandalorian.
You remember in the first one how so many people were like, "Oh, you can see Boba Fett in the background."
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that in the Enclave?
Yeah.
What if it's Cobb Vanth, who's
That
just
would
like
be
trying to be all like,
incredible.
"Yeah, I'm a Mando."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
be
yeah.
incredible. Look, either way, here's the deal. They have a lot that they need to explain.
Gets his ass completely kicked, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, what the hell? Why is Boba like sucking?" And then takes his helmet off, and we see it's like, "Wait, that's not
Yeah.
Tamura
Yeah.
Morrison. That's not Boba."
So, what do you think Tamora Morrison's going to look like when he's Boba? You think, like, how messed up is his face going to be?
Gnarled. He's
Yeah,
gonna be
he's got
blind
to
in
be,
one
right?
eye at least. I think he's gonna have like acid burns.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be messed up. Maybe have like a
Yeah.
mechanical arm or leg or something.
That'd be awesome, dude. Okay, so that's incredible, and I hope that's true because here's what's crazy is there's supposed to be a Boba show,
Hmm.
and it's supposedly, we don't know for sure, like we know very little, but supposedly it's going to spin out of Mando, not like a prequel.
Interesting.
It's going to spin out of Mando.
So after Mando or during?
Yeah, after.
So he survives.
Probably during maybe season 3 or 4. But this is okay. So an original report came out and said that there's Boba in this season, but there's going to be even more Boba in next season of Mando, and then he spins out of season 3 into his own show.
Very cool.
Is actually the rumor. Well, that was one of the early reports. So I don't know. Like I'm just so curious. Like what was he healing that whole time? Like is he laying low like
I don't
you
think
said
he was
because
healing.
he doesn't
Yeah, I think he's just laying low and just like Palpatine was in Episode 9, he's just pulling strings of things in the background maybe.
That would be awesome. I'd love it if he takes over Jabba's palace, and he's like kicking it, and like either.
But it blew up.
Well, did the palace blow up or did the barge blow up? I think the.
Well, the barge blew up. He's probably got a bunch of.
Yeah, the palace
bunch of
itself
places.
is probably, yeah, that's true. He probably has a couple places, yeah.
Yeah.
But if the Hutts are like getting sort of kicked out of there, maybe Boba's like setting up shop, man. You know what I mean?
Maybe. What if he's hired by Moff?
Gideon, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also a possibility, but that begs the question then, how would Gideon have access to him when he's seemingly disappeared and he's laying low, right?
Well, that's just the way of the Empire. But I feel like if you do that, then you're going to have Mando versus Boba, and you can't have Boba lose. So
No, you can't, no. Yeah, no, that's a
they'd
really
have to team up.
interesting. They have to. You're right. Yeah, they have to. And you know what else too, dude? I was thinking about this. You know about how Boba's not Mandalorian anymore?
Yeah.
What's up with that? We need that fixed like now. You know what I mean? Like I need to know what that means because technically, like if you listen to Dave talk about it, he talks about how it's a George idea, and he gave him notes on this. And then when they explore that in Clone Wars, it's a member of Death Watch that reprimands Obi-Wan, right? Obi-Wan says, Obi-Wan's speaking of Jango,
Hmm.
and the member of Death Watch pretty much says like, "Oh, he's not a Mandalorian. Like where he got that suit, nobody knows.
Yeah.
But basically, screw that guy." Well, I want to know, like, is that real or is that just that dude's opinion? Was Boba a foundling? Was he completely an imposter? Like, there's things that I need cleared up, uh, and I'm hoping we get some of
My
that.
knowledge is rusty on the Legends aspect of that, but apparently he stole it. He
Okay.
took the. No, apparently it's not even. It's not even. There isn't. I don't even think there's Beskar on it though. That's the thing. It's just like a replica or something like that.
Interesting.
I wish we
Okay.
had Sam Witwer in the chat.
Yeah. Somebody fix that lore situation up. Well,
Yeah.
either way, I want an explanation, dude. Like, and to be honest with you, I want Boba to be Mandalorian. And if he's not, maybe he can earn his way back into being
I
considered
like that he's
Mandalorian.
not. I really like that he's not.
For real?
Yeah, I like that Django's not Mandalorian.
Okay, why? Why? Just
Because it
because you
just
think it
shows
makes
how
him more
much of a
unique?
badass he is that he doesn't have to be part of their clan and he can be like numero uno and the most deadly dude just
True,
by
true.
his sheer work and discipline and talent in killing.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I guess for me, just I don't know. I cling on to that old school, like just he was always Mandalorian to me. And the thing is, even in the first press release for Mando, do you remember the very first press release for it? They name dropped Jango and Boba in that press release, and like I can't
No,
help but
I don't remember.
yeah, it was like you've known the story of Jango Fett and Boba Fett. Now learn the story of a lone gunfighter, something like that.
Hmm.
But they use Django and Boba even in that press release because they know like you can't fit it on a press release that
Yeah,
like at
true.
one time he was a Mandalorian but not technically anymore.
Well, yeah, it's like he in Legends he wasn't a Mandalorian per se, but he still there's strong affiliation with him
Okay,
being a Mandalorian because of the armor.
right. Okay. Well, I mean, it's funny because technically, wouldn't Cobb Vanth be doing kind of like the same thing? Isn't he kind of repping the?
Well, Cobb Vanth is just a dude in a Halloween costume. That's all he
You, know,
is.
you think he's gonna get whacked?
He's like the kid from The Incredibles who what's his name?
Oh yeah, what's
You
his name?
remember?
Yeah, the
I
first
forgot.
villain of the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
movie.
the crazy kid who got sidelined by Mr. Incredible.
I just remember it starts with a S, something Ciro or something like
It's
that.
not Sinestro. That's DC.
No, but it's probably something similar to that. Maybe Chattel.
I can find out in like 2 seconds. I can just ask.
Siri. Yeah.
Boba is a young clone of Django just to be his son. Yep.
100%.
Yeah. The boys season finale is already here. Time definitely has gone by fast. Yeah, dude, change subject just for a brief second on the boys. I love
Yep.
the boys, but I just feel like this season I'm so I found out today that it's the season finale this Friday. I
Hmm.
was like, what the hell is
Hmm.
going on here? His
Yeah.
name's
No,
Syndrome. Syndrome.
Syndrome.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
okay,
right.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, we talked about this before,
We
but I'm
did.
with you on that. I mean,
What the hell?
I
It's
just
great, but
fear.
it's
Yeah,
nothing's happened.
well, you know, it's funny actually. It feels like an old television trope because sometimes TV would do this thing where they would spend a lot on a first season and then they actually cut the budget for the second season
Mm.
because the philosophy in TV was like, oh, once we got you, like we got you, and then they can sort of just serialize it and spread it out.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's exactly what's going on with the boys, but I think what's funny is I like Eric Kripke a lot, and I think he's good at what he does, but I think he's fallen a little bit too much in love with like his own like legend in some ways, like with the show, because it feels like it's leaning too much into its shtick. It's like regularly scheduled shtick and gore and explicit content, and the substance seems to be lacking for me a little.
It's just I feel like we could have gotten a lot more episodes that were in concise, you know? Instead of
Hmm.
having this many episodes, you could have had that in like two. Explain it all in two
Dude, the
episodes.
first three episodes need to be half an episode.
Yeah.
Like they're like Yeah, I
Just
agree.
dragged out. Yeah, I mean, well, maybe we're gonna get a crazy finale. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, now we're digressing onto the boys, but I will say that Sony Studios is numero uno. They are killing it with Cobra Kai and the boys. I feel like I'm a big fan now of
Yeah.
the stuff they make, and of course they made the first Spider-Man and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah.
I hope if Disney were to cast Revan, it would be straight up Keanu and no one else. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you probably saw in my thumbnail the other day. We need a
Looks
Mandalorian
nice.
video game. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Like the Django video game that we got in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I want. Well, I mean, in video game form or whatever, but I want to see Jedi Mandalorian Wars, dude. And to be honest with you, like with the way Mando was going, I maybe thought that's something they could explore in the future. Set that stuff up for the future. The problem is there's no Mandalorians, there's no Jedi. It would be a very boring war at this point. But maybe eventually down the line we can sort of discover that. But I'd love to see that go down, man.
Like an old tale, like an old
Yeah,
cover
dude.
the old story
Tell
of
the
it.
story of Tar Vizsla. That's a old Republic story that should be
The
told.
Mandalorian with Force powers, who was a Jedi.
Yes,
I know, I know.
that'd be incredible, dude.
Yeah,
That'd be incredible. The dark saber, the dude that forges the dark saber.
yeah,
Like, come on, that
yeah.
would be disgusting. And there's no attachment to it, like there would be with Bane and Revan. Nobody's gonna get all butthurt when you do something different. Just tell Tar Vizsla's
Maybe that's
story.
what Ryan Johnson's trilogy is.
Who?
Bro,
He's
read it.
doing
Don't
the
make me
dog.
waste the cash, De Niro, my guy. Yeah, I'm not reading that, Wasabi. What Jedi do you want most to get their own show? Dooku.
Mm.
Also, we squatting up tonight because I'm definitely ready to fly with the boys. Theory Squadron for life. I was going to, but I think I'm going to be playing Phasmophobia on the gaming channel because I crapped my pants last night. So if you're not subbed to the gaming channel, please do so. I'm going to be on there tonight with probably Mark and Desire. So it's called Theories Arcade Games. So check it out.
Yeah.
You have a live stream channel too, right? What's that? Plug it.
Yes. The Den of Nerds Live. We stream Monday through Friday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a lot of fun over there. We talk about the news, a lot of good Q&A interaction and stuff. It's pretty fun. But I can't mess with scary stuff, so I can never play that game, dude.
Dude, I had a blast last night. I was screaming like a little baby.
Yeah, that would be
was-
me, except like my anxiety would also be like,
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. There's some funny clips in there. I think it was like a 2-hour stream. Shout out to some of you guys who were there actually. Do you think Maul is too saturated to have a TV show about his training and after the No. Maul's a character that I would want to see definitely after a Dooku show or even in tandem, whatever.
yeah, no, that'd be awesome for sure.
Something that always surprised me was that Maul never used Force Lightning.
Yeah, that is actually, well, Vader never did either, right?
Well, Vader couldn't.
Why? Because the organic tissue?
Yeah, because when he got chopped up, his midichlorians were apparently he like wasn't as powerful anymore. So he was only about 80% as powerful. And then the way Palpatine structured his hands to be all metal, and then made his suit super vulnerable to electricity, it was like he uses
Okay,
Force Lightning.
right.
He did in the novel. I'm forgetting the name now. It's an old one. Anyways, he collects. There's a crystal that he collects as he's escaping. Well, not escaping, but Luke and Leia are hunting this crystal, and he intercepts it. He gets the crystal, and the crystal like magnifies his power tenfold, and he shoots Force Lightning.
Sounds pretty dope.
It is dope as hell. But then Luke like pushes him down some hole or something like that.
Kind of yeets him off the cliff
He
like
yeets
they
him
did
off a
Ben
cliff.
Solo.
Yeah,
Boom!
yeah, and that was it.
That's crazy.
Um,
So what's that thing that Plo Koon does? I saw your vid. Is that
Force Judgment.
is that canon? Or is that EU stuff?
I don't know if it's canon anymore. I think it's just EU now.
And what
Yeah.
was it? It was like a
Force Judgment. So it's a copy of Sith Force Lightning, but it's not true Sith Force Lightning. It could, I don't think it could kill, but it was definitely very powerful, and it could, incapacitate you or make you pass out or stop you from what you're doing. And it was orange.
that is cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more stuff like that,
Yeah. So he used it when he needed to use it against. I think there was a terrorist or something that was after a girl, and to save her life, he used it in that moment, that split second. And then the Jedi Council had a talk with him. They're like, "Hey, like, do you think this is something that you should keep using?" And then he's like, "If it's gonna save someone's life, yeah, absolutely." And he's like, "I can assure you, in that moment, I didn't have any sort of anger or hatred or anything to do with the dark side, any emotions that are attached to the dark side whatsoever. So yeah, I can use it. Yeah, I'll be fine." And they're like, "Okay." But yeah, he
That
was the
would
only
be
one.
cool. That'd be cool to see that, or something to that effect. It kind of makes me think of the Night Sisters sorcery and that whole thing, man. Like, there's so much untapped potential with what they could do with the Force, and it was one of the more interesting things of the ancillary material around the sequels was watching Palpatine kind of get into all this stuff. Like, he knew Mother Talzin, like he knew Mother Talzin. You know what I mean? Studying from the old holocrons, learning of the Jedi. And, he kind of says it to Anakin, right? Where he's like, if you want to understand the great mystery, you must study all of its aspects.
Yes.
And that whole idea of having a pretty complete and total knowledge of the Force and what it was capable of. I mean, he must have been the furthest down that journey. I don't even think Plagueis ended up finding as much out about the Force as Palpatine did.
Yeah, I think Mace Windu is another one because he says in the book to Obi-Wan that he created Vaapad, which was his lightsaber fighting style, as a way to answer the darkness within himself.
Interesting.
So the way Vaapad worked, it was super OP, man. It was like if you're fighting, so whenever he would fight a dark side user, the dark side would flow out of them and it would flow into him, recycle, and then flow back onto them. So it's like no matter how powerful, and that's allegedly how he defeated Palpatine.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense because otherwise the explanation is Sheev let him.
That's what I like to believe, but George has said that he beat him, so.
All right, George.
Yeah, I don't know. I asked Ian McDermott in person. I'm like, when he was signing something of mine, I was like, so did Palpatine throw the fight? And he's like, yes. I was like, all right.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Yeah.
What does he say? I'm too weak.
No, it was bullshit. It was so there's no way he lost.
That snap to that smile.
Yeah, he was just waiting for Anakin, man. He knew everything. He could plant dreams. He could manipulate. He could see into your mind. The dude was next level. He was Emperor of the Galaxy. I mean, there's no way that he would have just. No, dude.
Yeah.
No. I mean, but look, that's my interpretation of it. But the facts are that Mace won. So.
Sure.
It is what it is, man. I mean, what can I say? I'm just a fanboy.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I get you. I get what you're saying. I think it's at the end of the day, though. That's why retcons happen, and George has retcon his own stuff. He's not as bad as Akira Toriyama with that stuff, but he's up there with the retcons.
If you could have Leo DiCaprio play a character in Star Wars, who would he play? Probably no one.
Yeah, no.
I know he was supposed to play. He was supposed to play Anakin.
What?
Yeah. George went to him first.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah. With the whole copy and paste thing, would Revan be considered a copy paste character, or is he an extended universe character? And are the characters from the Old Republic considered extended timeline? I think they're going to redo everything. So I think they're going to take a lot of inspiration, but I think they're just going to kind of change it up a bit,
Yeah, and if they do Bane, like that's one of the things, they have to have a counterpoint to Bane. Like they would almost need another Jedi like across from him to make that make sense. But the thing is Bane just owned everybody. Like for a long, long time, he was just decimating people. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to adapt that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, in Filoni we trust, right?
Oh yes.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Oh, yes.
I'm kind of interested in the Samurai Bane from Clone Wars story. Oh yeah, right, with Yoda. I'm interested in Dark Yoda.
Yeah. Hopefully we have a little more Dark Yoda in High Republic, right?
Right. Yeah, I saw we're getting a younger Yoda there. So, but it's like it's all books, and it's all like give me movies. You know, you guys, Disney is killing it on the books and the comics. I love their stuff on the books and comics for the most part. But yeah, why aren't we getting those in movies? I just feel like even an animated little thing, like, you know, just man, I mean, throw it on YouTube. You probably will get like 100 million views,
Yeah, it is interesting how they
which
go about
probably wouldn't
doing
pay
all
for it,
that.
but
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, it's weird that they have, but to be fair, it does seem like they're finally listening now. I mean, rumors of a Mace show, an Ahsoka show, Ezra show. I mean, a Boba show. They're seemingly finally figured it out, and they are giving more fans what they want, I think.
yeah, I think so. But also, there's a line with not giving too much fan service. Like, don't listen to the fans. Like, we don't know what the hell. A lot of us don't know what the hell we're talking about or what we want. Sure, we want cool lightsaber fights. Sure, we want this and that. You know, but at the heart of it, we want stories that make sense, that aren't just, let's say, pushing agendas or aren't political. You want a story that's based on the story of Star Wars, which is about space drama, right? And we want the legacy characters to be treated properly as we go forwards, and the new characters to make sense. That's all. I don't
Yeah.
really care about anything else.
No, I agree. I agree, and I think that's why you need to have Filoni involved. Like a focus on family and a focus on the heart of Star Wars is very, very important. And you're just, you know, when you're talking about Dave, you're talking about a guy that just viscerally understands that, lives and breathes that, and yeah, he should be there to help craft the vision, but also to help the other creators on their way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sort of help them, you know, find that beat because, yeah, that's the guy that can do it, man, for sure.
Well, when you have someone that's trained directly by the creator of something, it's not going to get any
Absolutely.
better than that. There's no one that's going to know better. They may have
Yeah,
better ideas, but it all needs to be filtered through him.
yeah,
And that's the thing that they really need to grasp a hold of and understand that. Hey man, it's got to go through Dave. I think Filoni has a good concept of what's going on, and I think he's a fantastic filmmaker. And then if Kevin Feige, you know, knows a lot about Star Wars, and he's obviously showed his resume with Marvel, he's absolutely killed it. I mean, there was the buzz around the Marvel films. I don't know if I can't say if it was bigger or not around the sequel trilogy, but I almost feel like there was more enjoyment.
Oh yeah. I mean, the especially after Infinity War, the lead up to Endgame was like something
Infinity
I've
War was
never
amazing.
experienced. Dude, it was such a great cliffhanger and such a ballsy move, and it created a phenomenon. And I always say that like going in the lead up to Endgame and then watching Endgame together was one of the most exciting pop culture experiences of my life. Not only did my personal channel gain a lot and we grew a lot from Marvel, but like just the relationships that I had with fans and just cheering on together this
Yeah,
crazy thing. It was very hard to find somebody negative on the lead up to Endgame. There are some people that thought Endgame wasn't as good as others, but
sure. You're always
whereas
gonna have those people.
yeah, but it's literally magical what they were able to pull off with Marvel. So yeah, yeah.
It was with patience, planning, and a lot of money. So,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah. I
and it
mean,
paid
I think
off, man. Like it
it
did.
did. It did. I view Kevin Feige as the greatest producer of all time. I'm gonna someday write a book about this guy. I'm fascinated by this guy. I've done a lot of research into this guy, his early come up, you know, with the Schulers, and or the not the Schulers, Schuler Donner. It was the Donners that he worked with, you know, Richard Donner and that production company. And like, dude, this dude is just he's the best. I think the reason Feige is so good at what he does is because he is one of us. He's a big nerd, like the biggest nerd ever, and he spent so much time when he was a young man like watching a movie that he thought should have been way better and then going home and figuring out what would have made that movie better, like with action figures and all. Like that's what he did, and now he's doing it with like real action figures like Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know much about him. I just know that he made a really great Marvel series, and hearing about him, you know, going into Star Wars, I I don't know. Is he a Star Wars fan? I know he's great with Marvel, but that's the thing.
So
It's like
here's the thing. Here's the thing. He has said on record that Star Wars is absolutely his first love. Star Wars is the thing he loves the most. It's not Marvel. It's Star Wars that he loves the most. He just also loves Marvel and got that job and sort of so he
killed
produced,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, he killed it. Well, he produced 13 Marvel movies before he got the job as president of Marvel Studios. Like this dude worked with Sam Raimi on the old Spider-Man movies. This dude worked with
I didn't know
Bryan
that.
Singer on. Oh, dude. So the reason that Hugh Jackman's hair looks the way that it does as Hugh Jackman is because as a production or a producer assistant on the lot, Kevin Feige went up to the costume department and said, "No, you got to do it like this." Like this dude has been giving us the goods for like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like he's an incredible producer and he knows the fandoms. You know what I mean? I'm fanboying out a little bit here, but like I genuinely think the dude is next level. This is like the Steve Jobs of producers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hope it's gonna be. I hope he does a great job. I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, just want good movies. I don't really care who's involved. Just make great movies. That's all.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Want a Darth Plagueis movie? Yeah. What's each of your Star Wars film rankings? Oh, that's another video for another time. I'd have to say, 3, 5, 6. I made a video on it. I'm not gonna go over it again. With the whole copy, and we did that one. Was there something else we were gonna get? Baby Yoda with
Oh
eggs?
yeah, this is the weirdest image I've seen, man. I have no idea what this means, but there's an image out there of a toy of Baby Yoda hanging out with a pile of eggs, some kind of incubator device type of thing. And I have literally no idea what it could be.
Is there an image? And you sent me something, but it.
Yeah, I think I sent it to you, but let me go see if I can find it again, and then I'll get it to you.
Yeah, because it's like a Reddit post, but.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll get the image for you now. It is quite strange. It says "child with the egg canister" on it. What does that mean? All right,
I got it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, right here.
So what the heck's going on here, ladies and gentlemen? What do we think this could be?
What the hell is that?
It says egg canister, so it's not like we're misinterpreting it. It's a canister of eggs. Is this something on...
Are those Baby Yodas being created?
Could be Baby Yodas, could be Mon Calamar. I don't know how the Mon Calamar...
Do they hatch out of eggs?
I don't know.
He is kind of a reptilian frog-looking thing, so...
Yeah.
I could see that.
Could be that. Could be a whole new thing of Force-sensitive Baby Yodas that Gideon's going to turn into an army.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
like accelerated aging.
Yeah, it's such a weird image, right? And let me see if anybody's got anything that they're talking about. Guessing it's a new favorite snack. Oh, people are saying it's just going to eat them.
Yeah, maybe it's Tsuka.
Right? Yeah. Tsuka. Yeah, and he's just going to crack it open. Yeah, I don't know. Just a pretty weird image to see. Other than that, don't really know what it could mean.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I could see them coming from eggs.
Yeah.
It's like a factory.
Yeah. I'm so excited just in general to have Mando back. Like, it's going to be so cool to see where they're going with stuff. Particularly, obviously, excited for the Filoniverse episode and just seeing how all that's going to work.
Callista says... Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just saying, and whatever they do with Boba is going to be dope, too.
Callista says, with the Filoniverse coming, do you think we will see more Sam Witwer in a lot of things with Dave in charge? And if so, what do you want to see him in besides Starkiller and Maul? Sam Witwer in anything would be great.
Yeah.
I think he's just such a phenomenal actor and someone that can really get into the role of any character that he's, portraying. He just has that edge about him. I don't know what it is, but it's very rare to find someone that can really just completely go into this role of this other being and be that being. So it's like, I don't even think he acts. I think he just his brain just has this ability to just like become that thing.
Yeah. No, I mean he's really, really talented, and I really like what he does with like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff too, and like role playing in general. And he seems to be one of those guys that sort of cut his acting teeth in nerdy circles as it was anyways.
Hmm.
So yeah, it seems like he'd be really good. I've always thought Sam could play like an Imperial, some kind of like cocky Imperial pilot. In fact, he even looks like one of the guys in Squadrons a little bit, one of the Imperial dudes. Like he's just got like as nice as a human being as Sam is, he has these features that make him look evil. Like just straight up.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's got
it's the caveman. I forgot what it's called, but it's
the brow.
yeah, it's that what is it called? Some ridge or I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. That thing, where his brows come out or his skull comes out more. It's just like this very menacing, badass looking dude.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he's probably got some Neanderthal in him. Who knows?
He
Yeah.
probably does though. You're right.
No, well, I did one of those DNA tests, and I think what did mine say? I think I'm 55% more Neanderthal than
Dude, that's wild. Where did you find that out? Because I did a 23andMe, and I did like
23andMe. Yeah, yeah, that's what
I
it
did the
was. Yeah,
expensive one though, and I
yeah.
didn't. Okay, so where's that in the data then?
I did it 8 years ago,
Oh,
9 years
okay.
ago, and it's
Huh.
still updating to this day. So it's like giving me
Yeah,
new
yeah, yeah.
stuff. Yeah, um,
I'll have to go on there and see. That's really interesting.
yeah,
But
fifty-five
that
percent more.
23andMe.
Yeah, it was cool. I was like, all right, it's not that much, but I mean, hey, at least more than average.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, dude. Yeah, we definitely have. Look, the Neanderthals.
Well, my
They.
dad did it, and he got like 20%. It's like you're only twenty
Uh,
percent. It's like, oh, okay.
so you probably got a little from both branches, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, and then my mom's was like 25 or something,
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
then I
Yeah.
turned out to be like, maybe I'm adopted. I don't know.
No, dude, that makes sense. They got half your angles and half. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
You're good. Or maybe you were born of the Force.
yeah, possibly. Who knows? Any news about Vader episode 2? Excited for Mandalorian season 2 and the content to come. News about Vader episode 2. Yeah, there's always news. I'm actually thinking of remastering the whole first one. So there were a lot of things that were supposed to be different with the first episode that didn't happen for whatever reason. We did the best with what we could at the time, but now going back, I'd love to take all that raw footage, have it rescored by Samuel Kim. Not that the first scoring was terrible; it was great. It was amazing by Jacob Cadmus, and there was another gentleman who did it. Who did a part of it? I forgot. It's in the credits, anyways. Yeah, and just have it remastered completely. And the window was supposed to be like freaking huge, this massive window. You see the Emperor's wearing loafers, like he's supposed to be wearing boots. There are just lots of things I have a better
The only thing that I
idea.
really noticed, the one thing that I thought was in the Emperor's in that throne room, in the scene between the Emperor and Vader, it would have been cooler to have more space. I felt like that
Yeah, it looked
room in that.
claustrophobic. The set,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
kind of looked like shit, and there's just a lot of stuff I'd like to change. Looking back on it, look at the time, everyone did the best that we could with what we
Yeah.
had, with the budget we had, and everything. But it all falls on me at the end of the day. If I had more money, I would have been able to make something that was much more grand and impressive and
Well, if you were shooting on a volume, you
live
could
and
make it
learn.
look like that. You wouldn't necessarily have to be in a room that big.
Yeah.
You know what I
So,
mean? It'd
anyways,
be
now
cool.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to maybe rotoscope those characters out and put them in a completely new CGI environment that
Yeah.
is, very akin to Palpatine's chamber on his freaking Star Destroyer. It doesn't look like a claustrophobic box.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah.
feel like as a storyteller now, my ability is so much has expanded so much more than what it was at the time. I think at the time I was just very gung ho on making a movie and telling a story that I just didn't really understand a lot of the things and we did the best we could at the time. That's all I'm going to deduce it to.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say that movie is incredible, and everybody watching this already knows that it's incredible. And I also would say that the first movie that oh man, why am I blanking on the dude's name? The guy that did Eyes Wide Shut is like my favorite director of all time that I can't think of his name. Kubrick. So Kubrick's first movie ever, he bought up all the copies of it and burned them. So he has a similar feeling about his first big movie as you do to the Vader fan film. But how much of that is like objective, or how much of it is like your own kind of feeling of it? You know what I mean?
I don't know. That's it was for the fans. It was not something meant to make money off, and hence why I made that video back then when people were like saying like, "Oh, why are there ads on this?" I woke up and there were ads on it, and people were like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Hmm.
And then I got that email and so on and so forth. So I made that announcement that yeah, there are ads on this thing now, and it's not me. I just wanted you to know that, and of course it blew up and turned into this thing, which is where we are today. But going forwards with episode 2, there are just so many things that I can do now that I
Yeah.
have the vision for and I have the money for, and it's just a matter of doing it safely with COVID, and there would be a massive production crew for this one, and I'm very excited, but I just want to make sure it's all done, when things are safe and
Yeah.
when I
100%.
can
Yeah.
fly down to the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man. Now, just out of curiosity, and maybe this shouldn't be like podcast talk or whatever, but
I don't care, man.
have you ever thought about doing something unrelated to that IP, but in the
Hmm.
same genre? Have you ever
Yeah,
thought about doing your own thing? By
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
way,
100%.
by the way, I asked Dave this question years ago. I asked Filoni. I said, Dave, you've talked a lot about, because like he went to the same college as me, so like he came back and like did this cool thing. I'll tell you all about it some other time. But like basically, I asked Dave. I said, Dave, like, do you have any stories of your own that you want to tell? Because he's still like kind of telling Georgia's stories and stuff like that. And he literally said no. He said not really. Like he's just really not interested in. And he tells his own stories through the characters of Star Wars, and he's telling his own stories now. But like as far as his own IP or stuff like that, like he was just straight up not interested. But
Right, but that's because he basically has assumed the IP of Star Wars as his own, as he is the creator now. So he has that flexibility to tell his stories through these characters, which is a dream. It doesn't get
mm-hmm.
better than that. But I don't have that luxury. I
Yep.
mean, tomorrow the channel could be deleted. Who knows? Disney could come in there and say, "Yeah, we don't like you. You're
Haha,
gone. See you later."
time's up.
Yeah. So you never know. But I have tons of ideas for things. Let me just say this. I'm starting on Star Wars Theory. That's where I began. But it is not where I will end.
Mm.
Where I will end is making major production movies of my own that I'll fund,
Mm.
and writing books and stories of my own to tell different stories, not on the same genre, let's say, but including that genre 100%, because it is something that is so fascinating to me and so dear to me. So it will always pay homage and respect to George Lucas's story and everything like that, but of course veering very far from an IP that is owned by this massive
Sure.
company called
Sure.
Disney. So
So
yeah.
follow up
Mm.
question then. So, George himself is pretty open about how a lot of the mythology in Star Wars is not really his own at all, and it's ancient, it's perennial to us, right? Hero of a Thousand Faces, Joseph Campbell stuff, Sam Keen, a lot of this stuff. So I assume that being as big of a fan as you are, that this kind of stuff is really important to you as well. And so is that what you mean by like the spirit of Star Wars that you would want to know? No?
No, no. Something weird about me is that so all the fan fictions and the videos and stuff like that they've all been done on the fly. They've all been done literally like hours before they were posted. So if I have a blank page, I just start writing literally anything. I'll have a story. I don't
Mm.
know. It just goes. It might be a crappy story, it might be an okay story, it might be a great story. But that's for you guys to decide. But for me, I've just always had this since I was a kid. I would just see a blank page and I would just fill it with text, and by the end of it, I'd have a story that makes sense. It's like it would write itself as I type, which is weird. So
Okay.
I wouldn't
Cool.
need any sort of
Studying of that.
studying of other
Yeah.
films, let's say. Um, but of course, it's a great plus. Obviously get inspiration for stuff like that. But it would be just whatever comes up in my own head, in my imagination.
Oh man, that's okay. So it's funny because I asked Dave the same question, okay, and his answer was similar to yours.
Oh.
And what he said was, you actually don't need to study it to know it, and that one of the beauties of it was that all these different cultures, they didn't study it, they just told the stories. And so essentially, like a lot of the lessons of Sam Keen or like Campbell, is kind of that these stories are already in us, ingrained in us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And some people like get into like some really interesting theories about what that means exactly. But like he had kind of said that no, you don't need to study that. You just need to be a storyteller and serve the story. And if you're serving the story, you'll probably end up repeating a lot of the same things that are, the cornerstones of every great story. And that's just kind of how it
The
goes.
themes and such, yeah. No, man, ever since I was a kid, I've always been obsessed with stories. Movies to me are, it's they're my life, I really enjoy them. I really like just watching movies and learning and, being captivated by the character and avoiding anything that pulls me out of the story. So that's something I'm very keen on, is that when you're reading a book, watching a movie, there can't be any sort of like joke or any sort of thing that will pull you out of the story and make you think of something relevant to the real world. I want to keep
Right.
you immersed 100% as if you're literally in VR and you don't know any other world. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of book and story that I want to create, which
Yeah.
I feel like in today's world is something that isn't really being done too well. I think in the 90s and the 80s, I almost feel like it was done really well. I don't know why, but it just, maybe some of the stories were so far-fetched. I don't know. It just kept me in. There was no weird reference to anything that would like pull you out of it.
Yeah.
Like a mama joke or something like that. Like it just,
Yep.
I don't know. It keeps you in there. So that's something that I really want to focus on. And
Yeah.
of course,
No, I
telling
agree. I
telling
agree.
these stories about heroism and discipline and honesty and respect and working hard and triumph over evil and triumph over your own evils in your own mind, things like that. I think those are things that you don't really need to research or learn about. I think we all have those in our lives. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be a hero. We all want to be a good person. Some people may just have a different definition of good. So, but at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, essentially, as maybe not by definition, but by brand. And so I feel like just knowing that I can write stories based on what I would want to see, what I would want to be connected to when I'm watching something or seeing a character.
Right
kind of
on.
person I'd wanna be.
So have you ever heard of the distinction between the architect or the gardener as a writer? It's something that I think I think George R. R. Martin, it was either Brandon Sanderson or it was George R. R. Martin sort of clarified this, and so you sound to me more like a gardener. So like a gardener is the type of person, like you were saying, like a blank page and you just go, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Stephen King does. That's what George R. R. Martin does. But someone like a Tolkien or someone like a Brandon Sanderson is more of an architect. They like plot things out, come up with like concepts, and really all writers are a combination of both, really.
Sure.
But one of the things that gardeners run into problems with is they struggle with endings. It's almost like the JJ thing, right? Where like he can create, but he has trouble pulling it all together. You know what I mean? So I
I
don't
have
know
a
if
real
you've
problem
ever.
with that.
Yeah,
I have
interesting.
a real problem. I can write a great story, at least in my opinion, to get you there,
Sure.
but to end it,
Interesting. Yeah.
because it just stops. Like there's no flow. It's just like an end flow. So it's like what. That's why in all my
Yeah.
fan fictions, you guys would be like, until Snoke returns or whatever. So it's like, because I
Yeah.
hate having something end abruptly. I always want it to
Yeah.
continue. So it's yeah.
Yeah, no, hey, look, it is what it is. That's a tough thing. Maybe something to just kind of try to figure out or work towards or whatever. But yeah, no, I find that pretty interesting. I'm a little bit more of I don't know. I'm a little bit more of an architect, I guess, when it comes to my writing. Like I like having certain beats.
Structure and
Yeah, yeah. I tend to really focus on particular turns and kind of big moments. So I tend to think in terms of like yeah, like a big idea and then sort of reverse engineer around it. Like sometimes it's a scene,
yeah.
sometimes it's a visual thing,
Oh, okay.
whatever.
You're like
But
George, I guess.
I guess a little bit like that. Yeah. It's like I'll just like for instance, so I'm working on this comic right now and one of the images I had was in my head, I just thought it would be dope to have this guy grab this guy by the shirt and throw him through a wall next to him, but like at such a violent like in the way I had it paneled out was like it's so violent that the dude is like in the clouds in the next panel. And it was just the idea of like because it's so out of nowhere like you'd never think somebody would throw a dude through a wall and have him go like 300 feet, you know what I mean? And like that idea and then I sort of reverse engineered characters back from that moment to sort of get to
That's
that
cool.
place. Yeah.
So apparently George's first idea for Star Wars was the lava, was Anakin burning.
Really
That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true.
interesting. Okay. Well, have you ever read oh, there's a great book and honestly like I haven't even read it. I've just heard it referenced a lot and some of the things that people talk about around it are pretty cool. I think it was like how George Lucas or it's either how Star Wars conquered the universe or how George Lucas conquered the universe or something. But
Okay.
it's talking about like all the stuff that was going on in this dude's mind when he was coming up with Star Wars. Because there was like Flash Gordon, but there
Yep.
was also a lot of Jack Kirby comics. So like I'm a big fan of Jack Kirby. He did like Fantastic Four with Stan obviously, and then he does the New Gods at DC. And at this time, he was literally doing the New Gods. There's a character called Darkseid. There's things about children being swapped. There's the High Father. You know what I mean? There's some interesting concepts that like George is just absorbing all this stuff. Like he's studying anthropology, he's learning all this interesting stuff about our species. He's studying war and the American Empire and interesting things like that. He's reading Jack Kirby comics, he's watching Flash Gordon, and it just becomes this amalgam of frankly awesome shit, dude. You know what I mean? That he fuses into this crazy thing that becomes Star Wars,
Yeah.
it's magic in a lot of ways. Like it is magic. Like he sort of takes the stuff from inside his brain and creates it. Like none of this exists,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I love
Without
about it. That's what I love
yeah.
about YouTube is that you literally take ideas from your own head. At least like for the stuff that we create around content or whatever. You just
Yeah.
you just think of stuff in your own head, or you take ideas from that are already out there, and you create your own consensus around your own theories around it, or you whatever, bring comics to life, or you have your own fan fictions and stuff. The fan fiction stuff is where I really enjoy making content the most, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, can I pitch an idea to you live on this stream?
Yeah,
So check this out. Have you ever heard the Zen parable of the samurai and the monk?
I might have. Explain it to me.
So basically, there's this monk in a bar, and he's just chilling. He's just kind of minding his own business. And then there's a samurai in the bar, and the samurai is belligerent, drunk, acting a fool. Like, because at this time, samurais were like a social class, right? So, like, this dude was above everybody, and he knew it. And he's being like all belligerent, and at one point, he like notices the monk over there, and he comes over to the monk, and he essentially says, "Teach me about heaven and hell," to the monk. And the monk like looks up at him and is basically like, "I'm not teaching you anything. Yeah, you could look like a bum. You're unkept. You look dirty. You're drunk. You don't even deserve my time. Oh, and by the way, your sword's looking a little messed up." And that's like a big insult to a samurai, right? And so the samurai pulls out his sword and he's enraged, bro. He's like, "Dude, I don't know who this monk is, but this monk's about to get it, you know?" And so he takes out his samurai sword. He's got it like in his face and he's ready to kill him. And the monk just like puts a finger up and says, "This is hell." And he's like, like to his attitude, to the samurai's overreaction, to his anger. And the samurai like pauses and he like takes it in and he sheathes his sword and he gets on his knees before the monk and bows and says, "Teach me." You know what I mean? Like he humbles himself. And then the monk says, "This is heaven." Where, the servitude, like the humbling of yourself, the death of ego, like these sort of things. And I say that story only because, well, first of all, it's kind of cool, but also I love Zen parables, and it would be kind of crazy to do some of these Zen parables in the style of Star Wars. So imagine that story that we just told, but it was like the Sith or the Jedi versus the Guardian of the Will or something like that,
I love
right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like reteaching these parables and these really cool ideas through the medium of Star Wars because, I mean, let's face it, it's impactful. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I like that. I'm a big fan of all Asian mythology, Asian teachings. The way of the samurai hits home for me for many
Yeah,
many
man.
reasons.
Yeah.
That one super chat led us down a rabbit hole. Any news about Vader episode 2?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
dude,
what
yeah.
that's what happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know what happens in these streams and these podcasts, but they're always fun.
True. True, true, true.
I probably didn't get to many super chats. I'm very sorry about that, but I'll try to get through a few more. They should get Walt Disney Animation Studios on Pixar to make an animated Star Wars movie or even Lucasfilm. I don't want a Pixar Star Wars film. Do you?
Yeah, no. No, I mean that's what we got with Forces of Destiny and stuff, kind of. Like,
Yeah, no.
you know what I mean?
Pixar
Like,
holds a very special place in my heart. Toy Story, Monsters Inc., um, A Bug's Life, which was so underrated.
oh, I love A Bug's Life,
I
dude.
know, yeah.
You know the thing I never forget with The Bug's Life is the caterpillar, the fat caterpillar character. I think his name was Heimlich.
Yeah.
When he first screams and he like rolls up and all his fat. I'll never forget that shit. Or he's just like, "Ah!" Yeah.
I think it was a great movie. And then, they made not they, but then Ants was made, which is kind of, I felt like a riff on.
Yeah.
With Sly and James Woods, I believe, which was great too.
Mm-hmm.
The last time they played together was the did you ever see that movie? Not Demolition Man. The Specialist.
I don't know if I've seen this specialist.
Oh
No.
man, you got to watch that tonight. Great movie.
It's on Netflix.
No,
All
no,
right, I'll check
you
it
got to
out.
rent it on YouTube.
Gotcha.
I know we're getting Bad Batch, but I'm for a movie of a squad of clones from any battalion and stories going throughout the war. Yeah, it'd be neat. That's something I'm trying to do right now with a cinematic for Vader Episode 2. Have you read the Legends comic Jedi vs. Sith? Yes. No, I haven't read all of it, but some of it. I think that this is the first time the Battle of Rusan was depicted even before the Bane books. I think the art style would be a good inspiration for a movie. Yeah, I'm really liking the art style with what Benny's creating for me right now with the Order 66 animation, which we're going to have a new one coming out in maybe tomorrow, the day after, which will be a piece from the alleged Colin Trevorrow leak, because we've never actually gotten full confirmation. But
Right.
do you think Commander Devis will become canon? Who's
I feel
Devis?
like we got this question before, and I don't know if I knew who he was then either.
Who's Devis? Comic Book Resources posted an article saying that Order 66 couldn't fail because the Jedi were self-important jerks. Nice.
They were though. They got too full of their own stuff, man. You know what I mean? There's a Zen lesson there as well, right?
Yeah. I agree with you about Sam Witwer theory. James Arnold Taylor always says the best actors don't act, they behave. Sam is great. Love the chat, guys. I'm glad you guys like it. Yeah, so sometimes these take, we do our news and then they take a different philosophical turn or stuff. What's something you want to do? Like, you want to keep doing the Den of Nerds, or where do you want to go as this expands?
So for me, it's important to get the Den of Nerds to a certain place. And then once that happens, there's a ton of different things that I want to do. I mean, I am a writer, and I actually have published comics, and I used to work for a comic publisher. And I've actually been trying to get back into that because, I mean, you know this more than anyone, but the YouTube grind crushes your creative juices. And so for me, I started feeling like I was losing my ability to tell stories. So during, 2020, had a little bit more time. I've been working on a cool comic book script. I actually just got some art. I haven't even shown the publisher this art. the one I'm going to pitch to anyway. But yeah, I'm working with sort of a new artist, and I'm really excited about that. I also have a Star Wars fan fiction that I might work on with this guy as well. And so for me, it's like get the den to where it needs to be, and I really do want the den to be like this great place where nerds of all different kinds and walks of life can come together to enjoy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually want to get into some interesting things, man. I want to do some esports stuff. I love producing, and I love coming up with ideas when it comes to content. I think is really where, at the end of the day, it's where I find the most joy is producing content and working on like big macro business problems. Like I just that kind of stuff gets my juices going. But I think it's important to establish the den before I move on to any of those kind of things. So
yeah, I'd like to make Theory a massive enterprise of covering, I guess, pop culture.
Yeah.
So eventually I'd like to move on, make it into the, tens of millions of subs, and then, for all of my channels, because right now they're just me making content around things that I enjoy and getting paid for it, which allows me to fuel more money into the content, which is great. So it's like this awesome feedback loop. But eventually I'd like to make it to a point where it's self-sustaining. I can hire people to just keep it going, or just drop it entirely and go focus on other projects. But I just feel like a lot of people would miss the quality content, and everything would still go through me, filtered through me. But
yeah. Well, my view on this is like, it's interesting because I think the thing about YouTube is it's such a tough game that like even big channels and even like, unless you're in the upper echelon, it's too unpredictable as far as revenue is concerned to make some big macro business decisions. Like, it's hard to actually say, oh, I'm going to spend X amount or I'm going to fund X amount with YouTube because the return on investment is so up in the air. But I do think that for me personally, pushing towards a subscription model and pushing my memberships and like the Nerd Vengers and that community and trying to focus less on AdSense, I think is the way out of that problem. You know what I mean? Because the ad space is too unpredictable. And unfortunately, because of like Rona and, just the economic whatever, it's going to continue to be pretty tumultuous, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I was thinking of making, I've had the idea of making my entire channel just for join members as a way of being able to pay for more high budget content, because none of them are making money. It's just me spending money. But I don't know. I don't really want it to be a pay to watch system. I like the fact that everyone can watch and it's for everyone, because there are a lot of people who can't afford that. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a tough balance to strike, but I think I think you're doing it, man. I think you're doing it at a really nice level where you hit numbers and you do big numbers, but you also have like a great community and a lot of love in your community, and it carries over to your other channels and to the arcade channel and things like that. So like I think you got it figured out.
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I just do it.
Hey, look, that is way better than the person that knows exactly what to do but doesn't do a thing.
True.
So
yeah, you just apply yourself and hope for the best, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Do you think Boba and Mando teamed up? If Boba and Mando teamed up, would Boba act in his own self-interest and to betray Mando? Maybe.
Hard to say. What is Boba's self-interest? We really don't know where is this character's head even at right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't know.
It's going to be really interesting to dive into that for sure.
Yeah, I need those answers. Dave, give me the answers.
We're only 3 weeks away?
Yeah, man.
Are we going to do a watch party? Are we going to do a watch party?
We should totally do a watch party.
We should,
we
man.
got to.
Yeah.
We got to.
You and me, we would just have, we would just be like this.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Except I'm going to be like this the whole time. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be down with that. We should do that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Aren't you worried they'll ruin the ruthlessness of Bane and the Old Republic? I'm hopeful. We'll just see.
I mean, yeah, but I am legitimately worried about that. I mean, that's the whole thing. If I didn't have that concern, then I would be like no worries whatsoever. I think that is the concern. It's Disney. Like, it's not that hard to imagine them doing that.
Did they cancel Deadpool? Or is it still going?
No, well, okay, so there's actually some wild Deadpool news that dropped, where they might sign Ryan Reynolds to the biggest MCU contract ever. And so Deadpool might be in more Marvel movies than any other character.
What? More than Robert
More
Downey?
than more than any character. Yeah.
Because he was
Mhm.
like numero uno, right?
Yeah, he was in quite a bit of them. Yeah, absolutely. So
Well, he
was
had
Nick
the biggest
Fury.
contract, I think, right?
Well, so the thing that's crazy about that is Downey got so lucky, dude, because when he came out of rehab, he was like considered a liability. And this is, I'm not just in like the, oh, he's a liability, like no, in an insurance sense, he's a liability for the studio, right? So they didn't want him. You know what I mean? Like they didn't want him. I believe it was Favreau that really wanted him for the role, and the studio was like, no. They were feeling someone younger or Tom Cruise. And so
Right, Tom Cruise.
yeah. So they go with RDJ, but here's the thing. Because he's such a liability, they pay him very little up front with massive back end points and no second film in his contract. And so after Iron Man blew up, this dude was rolling in cash and they had to sign him. And dude, he took them to the cleaners
Good.
with that contract. Dude,
Good.
he took them to the cleaners, son.
Good.
Oh my God, yeah. So yeah,
Payback.
he made it. Yeah,
Payback
dude, right.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all have our downfalls in life, but it's our ability to pick ourselves up, and he did that. So,
Absolutely.
Shards was amazing. We thank you again so much, Levin Roosevelt. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, wait till episode 2. It's gonna take a big poo poo on Shards. It's gonna
Ooh,
You're
okay.
gonna be like, what? How are these the same continuation? So what, part 2? It's just gonna look a lot better. Aren't you worried they're right? We did that. So, yay, Steve. What up? Thanks, man. Emame says another 5 because I can. My username is Emame. MMA. Oh, are you a girl? Oh, I guess. I was like Emame, like Emame beans. Anyways, thanks, Emma. MMA. You keep saying Emame and it makes me laugh. I thought it was like the beans, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, put some salt on them, some soy sauce. Hello there. This is Star Trek. You should make
Right on.
Star Trek channel. Right? If they were ever to make a miniseries about Count Dooku before his turn, who would you have play a young Dooku?
Hmm.
I don't
Someone
know.
with some swag, dude.
Yeah, you can't replace Sir Christopher Lee.
I'm so bad with actors. I don't
know. Whatever. Hey, Josh, that is basically what happened with Anakin. His last words before he burns, his first words are as a Sith, I hate you. That burning is what hatred, anger, and pride make you feel like hell.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Love your content. Do you think there was ever a chance to save Padme in any scenario? Yeah, if Anakin ran away with her to Naboo.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have just bailed, dude. Should have bailed on the whole thing. And the thing is, like, that's what's so crazy about Sith is you can see a couple moments there where he was like, maybe we should just get out of here. You know what I mean?
Great chat. You guys are the only ones I would pay to help out between Den of Nerds and Star Wars Theory. Everything I love is discussed, no agenda. We got to do some of these live streams on your channel so you can get the soups.
Yeah, well, we'll figure something like that out for sure, man. But I mean, honestly,
Or
like,
I just
it's
give you like a
been,
cut of them. Yeah, I feel bad. Some of these are for you.
yeah, but I mean, honestly, like that to me, I mean, to think that there's not value being brought to me by just even being here is crazy. Of course, like I'm aware of it. You know what I mean? Like you're aware of it. Like,
Whatever. Yeah. All right. You bring value by being here, man. So I don't think anyone outweighs the other person. I just have more followers. Whatever.
yeah, but we're figuring this out, and like maybe down the line we can talk about something like that. But
Cool.
I'm very happy to be here and to be speaking to your community and just getting to know you. And
Well,
talking Star Wars, man.
it's our community now, so
Boom.
it's likewise, man.
Cool.
When did you start the Den of Nerds?
It's like 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago at this point.
So
Yeah,
was I around before you?
I believe so. I think we started relatively around the same time.
I started 2016.
Yeah, I'll have to go back. I want to say we started around the same time, but I can't. Yeah, I can't really remember.
I
All I know is
I
that
think I was there a little bit before. So, I mean, hopefully, these guys will know about your channel more, and then they can just siphon over.
Yeah, well, I'll say this: you were way better than me out the gate. I'll tell you that for sure. Like, I mean, I legitimately think there are reasons where you're at. So,
I don't know about better, but
dude, for at least a year and a half, I was horrible at YouTube. Like, and I know that. You know what I mean? So,
that's the thing is I wasn't doing anything. Like, I was not doing any advertising. I was not doing any. I didn't know what the hell SEO was. I wasn't like. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky.
well, I mean, sure, in some ways, but I think that there was obviously value there. Like the algorithm will not push out garbage. You know what I mean? Like it's not just going to push out garbage. Like people have to be engaging with that. So there was obviously value, and I would say the biggest thing that you had was you broke down potential barriers that existed for other types of content. Meaning like it was just really easy going. The audio sounded good. The video sounded good. It didn't feel abrasive, you know what I mean? It was very accessible. So yeah, and I think that especially at that time, because I think YouTube has changed tremendously over these years.
Yeah.
But I think particularly at that time, that really did put you in a special class. You know what I mean?
Well, my fan fictions and my comics were what stood out. I remember I was the first one to bring the comics to life.
Mm.
So that was a thing for me that I really enjoyed doing, and I just kind of enjoyed. I just did what I enjoyed. So it was like fanfics and comics. I was like, that was it, and like some lore videos here and there. But obviously the bigger channels covered that at the time, and yeah, if someone asked me how'd you grow so fast, I don't know, I'd just be like, and I just worked hard.
Absolutely,
but I don't actually know exactly what I did differently. I don't know. Thanks to them. Thanks to the subs.
Amen.
How dare you didn't read my super chat? Read the effing super chat. I will unsub. Sorry I didn't see your super chat. Right, if you send them and we're having a conversation, I'm not going to immediately like
right
interrupt the convo and read. Like that's not how it works. I appreciate your super chat 100%, but it's got to make sure it flows with the convo. It's the podcast isn't here just for soups, but I do appreciate them. Of course, they do help the channel. I wish you do a part 3 of Qui-Gon training Anakin. I want to turn that into an animation.
Yeah, man.
It'd be fun. I think the new canon comics go pound for pound with the old EU stuff. The books, however, are another story. Do you guys prefer new canon or old canon? A bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, there's great work being done in both, and some of the authors are literally the same, right? So, I mean, James Luceno has done incredible work in the EU. Plagueis is a masterpiece.
Killed it, yeah.
But also Catalyst, super underrated, incredible James Luceno work, before Rogue One. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good in both. Yeah, they're good in both.
MMA, I'm the Bean Queen. I'm just calling you Emma Mame from now on. Hello there, this is Star Trek. What Night Energy? I did read your super chat. What are you talking about? You said this is Star Trek. I read it. busting me up for nothing.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I want to make sure I cover everyone's, but it's sometimes hard.
Yeah, it can be tough.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be like. I don't want to be rude.
Did anybody figure out what this egg thing is with Baby Yoda? Anybody in chat figure it out?
Pop it up again. I think they're creating him, man. I think they're just creating clones of him.
Yeah, it's got to be something, right? I don't know. Or he's just like eating. I mean, it would be super messed up if he like ate one of the main character's kids or something,
Yeah.
Like,
weird. Maybe he did. He eats his own clone. Just need to send another super chat to validate the fact that you are both amazing and have great content. Sending much support. Thank you, Sarah. That's really nice of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I watched the first Squadron stream and wanted to let you know that I laughed my ass off when the guy sent you a dono saying he's been watching you for 6 years, then you told him that you've only been here for 4.
That was really funny.
Yeah. I was like, thanks, man. I've only been here for 4.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, though. He's like, I didn't mean on YouTube.
All right.
Did you know Jamie Foxx's Electro is returning in Tom Holland's Spider-Man 3?
Yep.
How's that going to make sense?
Well, that
The
is the
verse?
question. That is the question.
Are they
Well, I
bringing
mean,
Toby?
that's what I think's happening. Yeah. 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 I think live action Spider Verse is on the table. Yeah.
God, if they bring back Toby, dude, my childhood will be.
But he's old at this point. I mean, he'll be much more like
He's not
the Spider Man
old. He's like
from.
45.
Bro, he's old,
Is
bro. He
he?
was a. Well, I just mean in
How
the
old is
sense
he?
of like. Well, you're probably right. He's probably like 45.
50? Okay.
But I mean, like, to be Spider Man. I mean, Peter was older, obviously, at one point in the comics, but I just think he would be more like the Spider Man from Into the Spider Verse than the one we remember from the
Yeah,
old
yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, yeah.
But that'd be cool too, right?
Yeah. He's like Bruce Wayne who gives the suit to what was it, Batman Beyond.
Yeah, Terry McGinnis.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was a sick suit, by the way. Did I tell you I bought a screen accurate Batman suit?
What?
Yeah, it's coming. It's in the mail. It's gonna take another like 3 months to make, but
Which suit? Is it one of the specific actors or?
I don't even know. I don't even think so. I think I just talked to the guy who makes them. It's this company called Reeves FX.
Okay.
It
And
looks
you were like,
legit. I was like,
okay.
dude, I have to just so I can stream Batman games in this. I want to be able
Absolutely. Now, did you give him measurements or something, or like how's that
to.
working?
No, apparently it fits everyone. And I like in a certain height range. I think it's like 5'8" to 6'2" or something.
Hmm.
And I'm like right in the middle there. I'm 5'10". So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, that sounds cool. I would want to see. Just make sure you didn't get the one that had the bat nipples. I forget which one that
No,
was.
that's not the one. No.
The Tim Burton one where he had the nipples on the
No, it's
suit.
not that one. I think it's more so maybe the Batfleck one.
That's a dope suit, dude. He had a
Yeah.
couple really cool ones,
Yeah,
but
it's like that with a mixture of Dark Knight. I don't know, it's pretty sweet. I think it's like some
nice.
I don't know. But it's cool.
That's
We'd be
sweet.
getting a Ahsoka Tano's Force Effects lightsaber? Probably not. Maybe if you guys want a
Yeah,
review, but probably not.
I don't.
I have
Yeah, I
the
don't
ones
think
from
so.
Galaxy's Edge, so
Yeah, the ones from Galaxy's Edge are dope, dude.
yeah.
I love those
The white
sabers.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. Um holy dude, we've been doing an hour and a half.
Oh, snap. Okay. I didn't even know.
Okay. Are you doing Squadrons tonight?
I'm kind of feeling it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a little break and just chill, and then probably get on for sure. But you're doing scary stuff,
I'm
right?
doing scary stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna play with Mark and Desire on the gaming channel probably in like an hour and a bit. So make sure you guys head over there. And your channel was the Den of Nerds Live.
Yes.
You're gonna play
Den of Nerds
Squadrons.
Live. Yeah, and I think it's got I think live is in all caps. I don't know if I'm gonna stream Squadrons though.
Oh,
I
you might just
streamed.
play.
Yeah, I might just play. Just kind of off
I'll shoot you a
stream.
text if I finish early or something, or like something doesn't work out, and then I'll squad up with you.
Sounds good,
We'll
man.
see how it works. Then maybe we can get some subs into. It'll be fun. Um, I have not read Percy Jackson's series. Oh no, I think I read one of them. Percy Jackson and the lightning. I don't know. I can't remember. The eggs is one of the backpacks from the guys are wearing in the Mando trailer. Also, Theory Den is awesome, and Theory welcome to the Nerd Vengers. Thanks,
Yes.
man. Thanks, Mike. How about a Mando episode review with you guys and review Easter egg? Yeah, so we'll do all that stuff when it comes
Oh
out.
yeah, for sure.
100%. I sub to Den of Nerds. You guys are the best. Good. Yeah, go sub
Thank
to
you,
him.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, sub to him if you like his stuff. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much. I'm sorry if I didn't get to all the soups, but it is what it is, and no disrespect. We just didn't get to it. I just didn't see them. I've siphoned through and don't think I've missed any. But if I have, then comment next time in next week's stream, and I'll get to them. So, thanks for joining, guys. We still got to come up with an outro.
Yeah,
don't
maybe
know.
maybe we'll work on some cool stuff. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Figure it out. All right. Later, guys. Have a great day.